So here we go. It's untitled because fuck titles. I was searching the void for answers. I was grasping at straws for purchase. Every second ticking by emblematic of the scattered reality and the tragic bombast with which we are known to react with, knowing I gotta act with a better mind that's got a single track with which to impact with tact the rhyme and reason as it stands, careful not to detract from gentle synesthetic sensations. So I'll endeavor to scribe and thrive softly, a scholastic assassin hell-bent on undoing all the massive transactions that purchase consent and fabricate reality. It's insanity when defense contractors profit off the maimed bodies of the innocent, and it makes me think about how Western society's greatest export is propaganda and fiscal supremacy entrenched in an economy of scale, relying upon rockets that rain down like Texan hail, manufacturing consent by saying that murder makes sense, spending the cents of our citizens on $1 billion a week kill brown people habit, left verklempt because criminal contempt is fabricated by government's intent to scour every last bit of flesh from the earth, with the assent of their prosperity gospel god, and nobody finds it odd that we're ignoring the fundamental tenets given to us, the tenets of this crazy creation, our little blue dot space station orbiting around a massive hydrogen hell bent on burning itself into oblivion. And I've been told that I overstate the effects of systemic violence to my own detriment by a psychiatrist who won't help me answer the question of how to transmute my madness and sadness into advocacy, to activate activism, straying away from self-destruction, even if it's as simple as defining myself by what I love, like numbers, like words, like languages, like untouched wilderness and petrichor, like the laughter of children, like the glow of mountains, like the shades of moss on rocks, like the list that I didn't want to continue writing because it pains me so much to know that right now what's left of salmon spawning grounds are being rerouted into dried up dead ends that no longer flow, even if they weren't scarred by tank tracks of caterpillars more horrifying than any proto-butterfly or moth. And I can't help but mourn the fact that we won't have any corals left to fossilize for generations a million years down the path of our species. That somewhere along the line of my unborn children's 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 children won't be able to hug a tree any longer because it will be surrounded by a box to protect it from the world we've crafted around it, when already everything around us is imbued with perfection provided by God, by Creator, by Allah, by Zeus, by Odin, by the screaming sorrow that comes from the aftermath of a baby's first breath because it knows what we are doing. The prophecy is already written, but we fucked up the transcription. The thing that nobody tells you about psychosis is that reality's schism becomes slippery. And the schism with reality, and the schism with reality, and the schism with reality, and the schism with reality becomes so very real that you begin searching the void for answers. You find solace in the enormous blinking eye that stares back at you from the darkness. You believe that the sky did indeed swirl into a lightning-infused gyre of gray clouds in the distance, while rain began to fall and beat down as you drove home along the highway after leaving a friend's place, and it was all your fault because you didn't adhere to your Google Calendar schedule because you were supposed to finish eating the pulled pork sandwich for lunch, but you were distracted and couldn't focus, and you managed to refrain from eating the arachnid that took a stroll on your arm, but the voices were telling you to consume its life force. You had to consume its life force, but you're not crazy. Just a little dazed, just a little stressed, just a little overstatey of the mechanisms of destruction that we've engineered and hardwired into the circuitry that powers the machine, the unfeeling, unthinking machine, the one with the need for honoring greed with picosecond transactions, proffering profits, pummeling people with poverty pornography, possibly uncovering something eventually. Listen. We may only bow our heads down for 1 minute of one day in 1 month of every single year to remember the broken bodies and brains that found their way back to us after the Great War. The war to end all wars. And yet we decided to turn that one-hit wonder into a trilogy that's actually becoming a series we're writing every single day because profit drives more than just Marvel movies, and it's actually all N+1. What we called the first was actually the second, and the second was actually the third, and maybe we'll have the fourth soon, knowing that the fifth will be fought with sticks and stones, or maybe the melted down brass casings we can no longer reload to craft knuckles with which to brawl with entropy and each other. We needed to start counting from zero, but they're all misnomers, because colonial class conflict gave way to the solastalgia felt for unbombed buildings, drinkable water, the mountains we dug up for their gold, those things that existed before they were turned into toilet paper, deserts all over the world without walls, unburnt brown bodies, snow-covered ground in November and December, glaciers embracing mountains, salmon fighting against gravity and circumstance of a world where we didn't need the word solastasia. Blueberry patches, because collateral damage is what happens to other people. We who decide who lives and who dies, who eats and who doesn't eat. We pay lip service to their memory, those of Flanders Fields, by raising an entire generation of children in our global village who only know impending death by drones piloted by people who only talk about breaking bread. I think what I'm trying to say is this. The world is burning, and there aren't enough tears to extinguish the flames, the merciful conflagration. But ultimately, I failed at being a patient patient. And I'm glad.